Good to see you, Ryan Leaf. How are you, sir? Good
I'm
to see
doing
you.
really well, thanks.
ESPN college football analyst, Ryan Leaf.
Who would have thunk it 5 years ago, sitting in a prison cell, that I would be an employee of the Disney Corporation? Right?
You know I'm laughing because it does sound, that is one way to put it.
Well, I think it's just, I mean, it's about what you choose to do when hit with the opportunity to either go one way or go the other way, continue down a path, or choose to do things completely different in your life, 180-degree lifestyle change, and what kind of amazing things can happen. I mean, there's just so much gratitude in our home right now. Everywhere we look. Last night, my wife-to-be told me, she just looked at me, she's like, we put our son down and we're looking at each other just going, we have the best life. And we truly mean it when we lay down. And I've been talking about it a lot lately, but I just kind of overcome with it right now. It's pretty amazing.
You know what? And I could see it in your eyes right now. It's pretty neat. And it is amazing but it's also hard work. You put the work in, man. You put the work in. You put the work in on the radio, on Pac-12 radio, and on Mad Dog radio, and I'm sure you knocked on a ton of doors. You've been here on DP. You've been with Dan. You've earned it, brother.
Well, you guys,
you've earned it.
Yeah, I've worked really hard, but I've had people like yourselves and everybody else in this business that have really given me an opportunity too. I mean, when I walked out of prison too, I didn't have any opportunities. People weren't opening doors for me. You had to put in the work, and then people give you opportunity, and then you make the most of it. You made that point out to me, like, hey, you went about it in a different way when you came on the show. You did it your own way. I gave you the opportunity, but you made it your own, and that's something to be said for the people that stood by me and have given me that chance.
Well, it's your honesty too, because you do have a lot to talk about. There's a lot that we see in sports. We see a lot of adversity in sports. We see a lot of guys who are highly drafted who succeed. We have guys who are highly drafted and need to find something else to do, like what you're doing right now, and then the journey in between. And you put your story out on your sleeve, and you tell it like it is. And I think in this day and age where so many people just spew so much BS, it's tough to sometimes take. So when somebody actually is refreshingly honest about stuff that is tough to be honest about, you get flocked towards.
Yeah, once you finally take solace and accept what it is, I'm okay with that. I'm okay with everybody knowing, because I think most of the people did anyway, right? Because it was made really public, and it probably saved my life. So I'm okay with who I am, and that took a long time to get to. That's what true humility is, knowing who you are. And just ton of gratitude in the Leaf household. We're really happy with what we're about to start this journey on right now.
All that said, what's the deal with giving you your first gig at Tennessee? I mean, what the hell's that all about, Ryan? What's going on there?
I will say this. People may think that having my name associated with Peyton Manning is going to be a bad thing. I think it's an absolutely amazing thing, everybody. All right?
Yeah.
Because he's one of the greatest to play of all time,
of course,
right?
Sure.
That means if I'm in the conversation, I'd have been pretty damn good to be in that conversation.
Oh, well, there's no doubt.
I'm gonna allow that to be a positive for me, and this is a great opportunity. First game out at Tennessee, old Rocky Top. Never been there before in my life.
Yep.
100,000 people.
It's amazing.
Yeah. I mean, there's something to be said about it. I was supposed to go my freshman year, Peyton Manning's first start against Washington State. I was the scout team quarterback all week playing Peyton Manning.
Isn't that amazing?
I won scout team player of the week. Washington State went down there and got beat 10-9 on like the final play. Our offense we couldn't score offensively. Our defense was amazing.
Which is why you got in there eventually.
Why I eventually got in there to play. But I think it's just unique. And then we have a neat story to start with. I think they have a great Jeremy Pruitt's doing something different there. He's kind of trying to bring what he learned at Alabama under Nick Saban to Knoxville. And I'm excited to get down there, see Knoxville. I already texted Peyton and asked him where to go eat and where to go play golf if I had a chance. So.
And we have that information. We're all set?
Yeah, we're all set.
Okay, very good.
We're ready to go.
Now, what does one get for being Scout Player of the Week?
A little plaque.
You get a little plaque?
Yeah.
Huh.
Gave it to Mom and Dad.
Okay.
Mom and Dad still have it in the basement somewhere.
Yeah. Okay. Now we know they're really trolling on you if they do require you to read the promo for Peyton's ESPN Plus show.
Oh, no, that's already happening. Yeah, so they're really trolling it. Yeah. I love it. Have you watched it at all yet?
Dude. Oh, listen, Peyton Manning is fantastic. Everything that he does, certainly if his personality is going to be on display. It is a great show.
Yeah.
NFL Films is producing it.
Yep.
I mean, come on. And then you're taking off the next week because you've got a big honor in front of you, correct?
I mean, so ESPN gave me the week off in week 2 because Washington State, my alma mater, they're going to induct me into the Hall of Fame.
What in the world's going to go through your temples on that day, Ryan?
Well, I think, when I first started going through this process, I talked to a lot of people who are my mentors and stuff, and we try to remove myself from the equation as much as we can.
Right.
And this is all about me. And at first, my first reaction was, I can't do it. I'm not going to do it. And then my mentor came to me and said, you've gone completely on the other end of this thing. If you haven't been the guy you've been the last 4.5 years, this isn't happening. So, and I'm going to look for it as an opportunity to talk about that team.
By the way, that's a great way to put about it, though. I know you want to talk about the team, but he's right. Like, if you didn't live your life the last 4.5 years the way that you have, this is a celebration as much of the last 4.5 years as it was however long you were on the campus, 4 years at Wazoo. I'm glad that your mentor said that to you.
And
Ryan.
we have 3 players from that defense that are no longer with us, starting defensive linemen, 2 of which aren't here because of the same kind of disease I deal with, that are no longer here. And so I want to celebrate them. I want to talk to my teammates and my university about making sure to be responsible for one another, like I just talked about in that Texas A&M video. Be responsible for one another. I wish I would have known what they were going through because I was going through the exact same thing. And we can be there for one another. And this is going to be an opportunity to celebrate. And I think it's more special for my parents, actually. My mom is just through the moon to be able to be a part of this.
That's awesome. That's great.
And I'm going to be able to bring my son with me. And he doesn't know what the hell's going on.
What, he's 2? Is that what it is?
Almost 2, yeah.
Almost 2.
So.
Well, at some point, we'll find the whole thing out.
Yep.
Ryan Leaf, right here on the Rich Eisen Show. It's remarkable, funny, coincidental, however you want to put it. Peter King, at the end of the conversation I just had with him before you came out here, I asked him about the decision to start Case Keenum over Dwayne Haskins in Washington and how Haskins is not yet ready. He's kind of green. The line in front of him isn't maybe up to snuff to protect somebody with a huge upside like that. And he told a story about how Bobby Beathard, Hall of Famer, that as much as he respected Bobby told him about a 1998 highly drafted quarterback who might not have been ready, but he's like, the fan base expects it. They want him. We want him. And we start Ryan Leaf. Were you ready? Would you have liked a redshirt year?
Clearly, I wasn't. I mean, we've seen mentally I wasn't. Physically, of course, but mentally I wasn't. So yes, I would have loved a redshirt. But guess what? The mentality of my time there, I was like, no, I'm starting. I'm starting day one, and I was always competing. Like Peyton starting day one, I'm starting day one. Right? We're gonna compete with one another. So I don't know what you would have had to do to try to hold that back. You would have had to been the person that said, hey, no, you're not playing. You know what Jay Gruden's doing. No, you're not playing Dwayne Haskins. We're going to start the veteran. We're going to allow you to learn and get better. We also cut quarterbacks. We only had 2 on the roster that year, me and Craig Wheelahan. There was a rumor going around that Kevin Gilbride wanted to bring in Warren Moon to mentor me and be the guy. He had worked with him, of course, in Houston all those years. And boy, wow, would that have been something special to have Warren Moon, be the veteran there, the veteran leadership part, and have me learn. They brought Jim Harbaugh in the next year, and he taught me a ton.
What did he teach you?
He taught me how to be competitive. He taught me how to be a professional. And by the time I finally got the opportunity to play, it's when I had, hurt my wrist terribly and wasn't able to compete at the level I was. But Jim Harbaugh taught me a lot as my backup in San Diego that second and third year.
And in terms of being hurt, obviously Andrew Luck, we know what happened over the weekend. You were on the air for your Sirius XM radio show on the Mad Dog channel.
When it broke, yeah.
Exactly. So are there any similarities? You retired at 28. Could there be some similarities where you heard this news and you heard about his rehabbing and being in this vicious cycle of rehab and pain and playing? Anything sound familiar to you?
Yeah, I mean, it did. Of course, I didn't have anywhere near the success in my pro career as he did. But I was so sick and tired of being beaten up physically and mentally as well, right? I was told how a bust I was. He's sick and tired of hearing, when are you going to play? Why is he always hurt? What's this about? I can understand that. He didn't fully come out and talk about like the mental anguish it has, but you could hear it in his voice and the idea that he didn't love something as much as that he used to. So there has to be something to be addressed there. And I believe he's going to address it. And so we may not know what a year from now looks like, but we know right now this is what he feels is best for him. So I imagine that day when I walked into Mike Holmgren's office and I just told him I quit. I didn't go into that, hey, I can't get up in the morning. I feel sad all the time. I don't know what to do with this. Instead, I just walked in and said, I quit. I thought his self-awareness and his ability to express and articulate the way he felt the last couple nights has been so impressive for everybody out there who's contemplating a decision in this vein or anything. That's the biggest thing I took away from this is his self-awareness in that moment. To have it all kind of thrown at him like that when he wanted to do it on his own terms on Sunday, to have to come out and talk about it afterwards, to deal with the fans, all the things. He's a perfect example for anybody out there who's contemplating or thinking about doing something in this nature moving forward.
Now, when you say, Ryan Leaf here on the Rich Eisen Show, that you could not articulate it to Coach Holmgren when you said, I'm out, and the way that how impressed you were that Luck was able to do it, what anguish is there for fans who are sitting here perhaps still not coming to grips with Luck's decision 2 weeks before the season with a Super Bowl-ready team, it seems? What is that anguish?
I can't know that as a fan, right? Because I've never really truly been one. I was a Steelers fan growing up, and when Terry Bradshaw was hurt, I was, why isn't he?
Sure.
Why can't he be the guy? So it's hard for me to do that. I go right to the mindset of him and Andrew Luck and what it means to go through what he's going through.
But as a player, as you were talking about it, what is that anguish?
It's difficult, right? I tend not to even look at the injury side of what went on with me because I look at it as an excuse. I'm still stigmatized in that enough where I'm like, you're not the big tough football player, right? You couldn't talk about your mental illness with your coach. You couldn't talk to anybody after the fact. Like, you were banged up. You were hurt. You took on everything else from the outside, so that the anguish builds up and it can develop into in a dual diagnosis, one in a physical and a definite mental aspect of things. He's probably dealing with some sort of depression. I don't want to be a doctor or anything like that, but I mean, if you've gone from loving something so much to now almost, despising being there and dealing with those things, there's something that comes with that and needs to be addressed. And he's the person I think that's going to be able to go do that and work with the transition if he chooses not to ever play this game again.
Mom, my concern is with that, and I'd love to bring this up with you in the few minutes we have left. We heard Peter King talk about how if you had a guess, one player is going to be surprisingly retiring with so much of an upside, and it would be a guy who is Andrew Luck with his own book club and
Right.
And is a deep thinker. That I'm already expecting the backlash coming from the scouting community next February, March, April. Guy has got too much going on outside of football. Football's not the number one thing. He's too much of a thinker. We need somebody who can understand the game, is intelligent, but don't think too much. And there's going to be maybe a red flag of people who sound or are as intelligent as Andrew Luck.
We saw this play out a year ago with Josh Rosen, I feel, where he felt like there was too much going on outside of the football realm, and there was kind of a red flag attached to him. That's why he wasn't necessarily drafted as high as he was.
Is there legitimacy to that?
Well, it's
belief?
a business, so of course there's a legitimacy in them making that decision. But I guarantee you right now, if a team could say they could get Andrew Luck for 7 years as your franchise quarterback, you take it. You want 1 year from a franchise quarterback. If you can get 7 from somebody, that in my mind is good enough. As a businessman, as we watch these businessmen make these types of business decisions in terms of what one season looks like, if you can get one player for one season like that, you're okay. So scouts, I know, want to be known for their scouting prowess on picking somebody in their longevity, right? But I mean, come on. The length of a career in the NFL is 2.8 years. I told everybody the other day I learned this the other day working with the NFL legends. There's only been 1,000 players ever to play 8+ years in the NFL in the 100 years of existence. So if you're a scout out there, what you got from Andrew Luck is exceptional. So be proud of that. Go out and continue to do the job. Find the best possible players, regardless of if they play 1 year or play 10 years. You go out and find the best one. That should be the scouting process moving forward, and I think they'll do that.
Before I let you go, Ryan Leaf, heading off to the ESPN booth and continue doing everything else you're doing. You've seen Clemson up close and personal. I mean, how can we sit here and think it's not Clemson, Alabama, and two teams that are going to potentially lose to them in the college football semifinal? Obviously, anything can happen, but you're already hearing that conversation.
There's no reason why we shouldn't. And having seen both programs, it's just there's something different about what Dabo does down there. He doesn't bring in JC transfers. He doesn't bring in grad transfers. He brings in guys. They only offer 80 scholarships. Other programs are offering 375 scholarships. To me, that's like what, there's nothing meaningful about getting an offer from someone like that. But if you get an offer from Clemson, you have the right guys in there. Well, I will say losing the defense they did a year ago right now, they knew what they had.
Sure.
Right now, there's a little unknowns what they have going on. They have opening. The strongest schedule will be the first 3 games. Georgia Tech on opening night. Texas A&M comes to town in week 2. Death Valley.
Then it's his alma mater over
and then
there.
week 3 up in the Carrier Dome.
Well, I think they took Carrier off at SIA.
The Dome.
The Dome.
The Dome.
Yeah.
Where Syracuse, who I think is probably the only other team other than Clemson, maybe in the ACC that could be battle weary. We'll see how it plays out. The SEC is going to be really weak, but they have one really dominant force, and I expect them to be in the college football playoff, probably alongside Oklahoma, Ohio State. Sorry,
it's okay.
I don't know if they can do it this year. I would love to see my friend Jim Harbaugh and your Wolverines get to the college football playoff.
I wouldn't even know what to do with myself if that happens.
I'd be excited for you.
Thanks.
Yep.
By the way, you found that excitement somewhere deep in your reserve to be able to communicate it to me.
Have you ever told you the story about that game real quick?
What is that?
So we're warming up on the sideline, right?
This is the Rose Bowl?
Yeah, we're warming up in the Rose Bowl. I'm playing Michigan in the Rose Bowl. And we're warming up, and Coach Price is standing next to me, and I throw in and I look over there, and I always look at the other quarterbacks. And there's Brian Greasy, and then there's this kid walking around, and he's throwing the football, and he's got these shoulder pads that come out like 2 feet wider than his shoulders, and toothpicks come out, and it's got number 10 on it, and it says Brady on the back.
That's right.
And I grab Mike Price, and I said, Coach, see that guy over there? And he's like, yeah. He's like, that's going to be the greatest quarterback to ever play in the NFL.
Why does that smell like? And I started off the interview saying that one of your great attributes was your honesty.
Yeah. Great day.
But he was there that day, right?
I mean, how cool is that? He didn't do anything that game. Well, now he's the greatest quarterback to ever play. Maybe.
Well, it's tough throwing in the direction of the Heisman Trophy winner.
Yeah, he picked me off, by the way, in the end zone.
Did he do that?
Yeah.
Charles. By the way, I got some of Charles's wine. His latest label, Interception.
Of course.
Isn't that a great name? It's a great.
Everybody's making wine.
Great bouquet. Good to see you, Ryan.
You
Leaf.
too.
Hey, congratulations on the gig.
Thank you.
Let's get you in here as much as you want.
Yeah,
whatever's going on with your schedule. Check him out on ESPNU, 3:30 p.m. Eastern. Georgia State at Tennessee. Congrats in advance of that great weekend in Wazoo coming up.
Thank you, sir.
You bet.
For more of the Rich Eisen Show, tune to Audience Channel 239 on DirecTV for free on BR Live or download the Rich Eisen Show app.